So are you fearful or are you excited? Because we are entering a new paradigm and you, yes, you need to get ready. Because this is a new paradigm that for some people is going to be a big opportunity. And for others, well, they're going to sit there and blame the rest of you for why they're not successful. This is the time where you get to step up. You get to take back control of your finances. You get to take back control of your money. You get to turn the tide for your family because this might be the last opportunity you're going to have in your lifetime. And it will be the biggest one. Today, we're going to talk about the mindset that it takes to get through hard times. The mindset it's going to require for you to be on top. Or you could always bury your head in the sand, just conform, just do what they tell you to do, just put your hand out and wait for them to put something in it. This is a wake-up call, folks, and it's time for you to wake up. My name's Chris Naugle. This is What Now? What's Next? So you need to step up because we're not in Kansas anymore. You need to be strong. You need to be the asset. You need to be in control of your money. Because if you're not in control, who is? That's the question you need to be asking yourself. So when we talk about the financial mindset that it takes during these hard times, and folks, some of you might be thinking,
hard times, these aren't hard times.
You're right. I'm getting ahead of myself because we're going into hard times. And you know the best time to prepare for somewhere you're going? Right now. How many of you get in your car to go on this family vacation and you just say, honey, we're just gonna wing it? Probably none of you anymore, right? You just grab your phone and you just punch it in the GPS and the GPS then tells you where to go. Back in the day, we actually used to grab an atlas and we used to highlight the route. Man, that was fun. We're like, oh, we should stop off here. We should stop off there. We don't do that anymore. We just put the destination in, we just go. And we never stop and smell the roses along the way. And I think that's a lost art as well. When we talk about this mindset, I want you to understand the mindset that I'm referring to. And I'm gonna also talk about the specific characteristics of those mindsets, because there's the wealthy mindset. And let me just read you some of the attributes of a wealthy mindset. Number one, abundance. Number two, opportunity, control, knowledge, freedom. Those are wealthy mindsets. How about they're proactive? Not only are they proactive, they focus on the long-term gain, not just the short-term wins and the short-term losses. It's long-term that they're focused on. Not only that, they listen. They listen to what other wealthy and other successful people do, and they mimic it. So that's the wealthy mindset. So let's go to the other mindset. The masses mindset is what I'm gonna call it. Well, a lot of times you hear things like, oh my gosh, what in the world? I'm blaming this person, I'm blaming that person. They follow the news, they listen to their neighbors, they listen to their family members, and they conform to those failed realities, those failed financial futures, other people's failed realities. Think about that for a second. Who do you take your advice from? Do you take your advice from somebody who is not living your perfect day? Do you take advice from someone that is not successful and then you actually want their advice? Like when you look at their life, are they living the life you want? Because if they're not, why are you listening to them? Let me keep going with this. The masses mindset is full of fear. And fear equals control on the wrong side of the equation. Because when you're fearful, you are easily controlled. I think you know what I'm talking about there. Just look at the last couple years. Fear has given your control away. When government fears the people, there is liberty. But when people fear the government, there is tyranny. Think about that. That sums it all up. And I really want to kind of bring this all together now. And I want to prepare you with that abundant mindset, with that wealthy mindset. When we really look at this whole thing, we got to look at the financial environment that we're in. What is the financial environment? It's full of fear. When you get your 401k statements, when you get your brokerage statements, you're down double digits. And that's because you failed to act earlier. because we've been doing videos on this for years telling you, be prepared, get out of the market, buy low and sell high. The sell high seems to be the thing that people miss out on or that they struggle with doing, because everybody knows how to buy low. It feels good to buy low, but they fail to sell. And therefore, the third rule doesn't apply, and that is you won't lose money. Because if you buy low, sell high, you can't lose money. But what most people do, not by choice, but just by following, they buy high and they sell low. Fear forces you to do that because you allow fear to take over your logical mind, your productive mind, your abundant mindset. Fear supersedes it all, and we start losing hope. And once you lose hope, because, hey, folks, hope is one of the most powerful things you have. But once you lose that, it's game over. So let's hit just some of the facts. Unique things have happened. You see, the Fed has been doing their best job to try to slow inflation down, to bring inflation from where it was over 9% down to their target of 2%. And in doing that, they've been raising interest rates. Last year it was 7 times. This year we've seen 1 increase, and you're going to see a lot more. They've also been unwinding the balance sheet, which means the bonds, when they mature, the treasury bonds that they hold in their balance sheet, which is almost $10 trillion, just so you know, when they mature, they just spin them off. They sell them off. And that means the markets lose that money. It's like a vacuum cleaner hooked up to Wall Street or the central banks. It's just sucking money out every month to the tune of about 90 billion. So you pull money out of the system and you make the money in the system more expensive. It should be working. It should. By all accounts, I mean, I'll give the Fed a little bit of credit. These actions that they've taken, which have been pretty darn drastic, should be working to slow inflation down, which they were. Some of you might be thinking, well,
Wait a second, Chris. They are working. Wait a second. Isn't inflation going down?
well, true, until this week, because inflation went up. That's right. The inflation numbers are going up. How can that be? I got the answer. It's so simple. It's called employment. People are still employed, and people are still spending money to get back at the 2 years they lost during the pandemic. People are still traveling. Hospitality's way up. They're out there living their best life, and good for them. But unfortunately, a couple things have happened. We've been doing this for a little too long. Even though you're still employed, you've gone through a lot of that savings that you had during the pandemic. You see, during the pandemic, some good things came out of that, and that was people were saving record amounts. We were over 10% as a country on the savings. That guy, I don't even know when that's happened before. Not only that, another miracle was happening during the pandemic. Credit card debts were being paid down. Debts of all sorts were being paid down. So savings was going up, debts were going down. Man, that is positive. Then all of a sudden the world opens back up. They say you don't need masks on a plane. Boom! You're on a plane flying here and there and spending money like there's no tomorrow. You remember 1999? Well, some of you do, you're old enough, but in 1999, we thought we had to live life like it was the last day on earth, because we thought when 2000 came, it was all gonna crash. So back then it was party like it's 1999. Well, now it's party like it's 2024. And that party should have ended last year, but it's still continuing on. The hangover is still continuing. And you know what now? Now, saving rates are close to zero. People are not saving money. Not only are they not saving money, we have record credit card debts. Debts are exploding. They're bubbling. Double-digit increases. So what does that mean? Well, that means the party's costing a little bit more money than what you can afford, but it's okay. You're still employed, which means Visa and Amex and Discover and all of the credit card companies will still give you credit because you got a job, because you can pay them until you can't. You see, here's what's coming. The unemployment numbers are going to start going up. We're seeing it at the top. Okay? The big FANG companies are all laying people off. And now you're seeing it trickle down to all the rest of the businesses in the United States. You're starting to see a lot of companies cut back on employment. You're starting to see them hire less. You're starting to see them fire more. Wake up. That means unemployment numbers are going to start going up. But until they do, it's gonna still be this party like it's 2024 mentality, because you can still afford to continue to keep supporting those debts. And I don't know why we don't take one from history, because if you really look at it, going into any recessionary period, the one thing that will destroy a household's finances is debt. It always has been, and it always will be. And you know what's always destroyed empires? Debt. Let me read you this one from Benjamin Franklin. Think what you do when you run in debt. You give to another power over your liberty. Here's another one from Thomas Jefferson. To preserve our independence, we must not let our rulers load us with perpetual debt. We must make our election between economy and liberty, or profusion and servitude. Another one from Thomas Jefferson. It is incumbent on every generation to pay its own debts as it goes, a principle which, if acted on, would save 1/2 the wars of the world. Here's one from George Washington. To contract new debts is not the way to pay old ones. This one terrifies me, another one from Thomas Jefferson. But with respect to future debt, would it not be wise and just for that nation to declare in the Constitution that they are forming that neither the legislature nor the nation itself can validly contract more debt than they must pay within their own age or within the term of 19 years? Now, do you think our government is applying any of that information? That information was true then just as it is now. That information is true for politics and for governments just the way it is for you at home. If you ignore the rising debts in your household, those debts will sink your entire family's financial future. Mark my words on that. So you need to be the value. You need to be the asset. And not only that, you need to provide the worth. Not just for you, for your kids, for your family, which means you need to put a really strong focus on removing all debts. Not only that, you need to create diversified asset classes. You need to be diversified going into this thing. Matter of fact, that diversification we teach a lot about. And when I say diversification, I don't mean in your 401k.
Oh, I got a little small cap, a little mid cap. Oh, got a little bit of those large caps. Oh, and I got those freedom date, target date funds, whatever they are.
You don't even know what you're talking about. You have no clue what your 401k is even invested in. You're going off of something that advisor at the front of the room, who's probably only been in the business for a year or two, who's just rambling off by reading the brochure to you, right? True or true? You need to cut your budget right now, not tomorrow. I know this is going to be hard. You need to look at where your money is going, and you need to find some places to cut.
Oh, but Chris, there's nowhere for us to cut. Oh, we can't cut this. There's no way we can cut that and give up Starbucks.
Well, listen, I get it. I do. But if you're not saving money right now and you're incurring debt, something's got to give. And you know what? Maybe your lifestyle is exactly what you need to give up. That lifestyle isn't going to pave the way for you in the future. Because let's just put it this way. If I told you right now that the biggest opportunity is coming to you in a few short months or maybe a year, the biggest opportunity of your life, but to take advantage of that opportunity, you got to be liquid. You got to have money ready. What would you say to that? Would you sit there and say,
Oh yeah, I agree. I would be ready.
okay, well, if that's what you're saying, are you ready? And why are you not? Are you scared to sell those stocks, those mutual funds, those ETFs? Are you scared to get in a liquid position? Why? Where's the fear in that?
Oh, well, I'm already down a lot. I should, I could, I would.
No, you're definitely not down a lot. What if I told you the markets could go another 40 or 50% lower? Would you then reconsider what to do? Listen, I can't tell all of you how to handle this and what to do. I'm not giving you financial advice or telling you that you should sell your portfolio, but I'm telling you that if the biggest opportunity lies a short while into the future, and all you need to do is get liquid to take advantage of the biggest opportunity of your lifetime, I think you can piece that together, right? Now, for some of you, this is some hard truth. Maybe you got to get your ass another job. I don't mean to be a jerk, but seriously, if you're living paycheck to paycheck, why? Is it because of some mistakes you made? maybe you got a little loose with the credit card, maybe you spent a little bit too much, maybe you shouldn't have bought that boat and that condo, maybe you shouldn't have tried to do that Airbnb that was super fun, but now racked up the credit card. If that's you, guess what? That's your problem. That ain't my problem. That ain't Jordan's problem. That isn't anyone else's problem, and it's definitely not the government's problem. You effed up. So, get another job. I've done it. When times got tough, you know what I did? Put my head down and worked longer, worked harder. It is not fun. Nobody wants to do it, but that's the fact that you need to accept. You need to accept the truth of it. When you're out there, are you providing solutions to people's problems, or are you part of the problem? Because you're one or the other. You're either out there creating the problem or you're part of the solution. Figure that out, because I'll tell you something. Every successful business, every successful entrepreneur, every successful person does one thing really well. They solve a problem for somebody else. That's it. Now you did hear me, right? I didn't say they solved their problem. I said they solved somebody else's problem. It is one of the laws of wealth, and you really should hone in on that, and you really should do something about that. Now, we're gonna hit on one of my most hated products in the industry. In what industry? Well, I'm in the insurance and financial industry, so let's talk about that. It's this thing that was created called an IUL, an indexed universal life. Now, from its inception, it was spawned from another vehicle that I used to sell a lot of when I was a financial advisor called a VUL. Now, you guys are like, what is an IUL and what is a VUL? Well, a VUL stands for Variable Universal Life. It's a universal life insurance policy. Now, universal life came up, it was popular in the 80s, and it had all sorts of problems. It has been under so many changes since its inception because it always created false promises. They would promise an interest rate, and then the illustration didn't quite work out to what they showed. It provided flexibility, that created a problem because people aren't good with money, so they would just be flexible the wrong way and put less money in because they thought less is more, and then all of a sudden, the policy lapsed. You see, they had problem after problem after problem. So to solve those problems and put all the risk on you, the insurance companies came up with variable universal life. And variable universal life let you pick all of the investments that drove the performance of that vehicle. So they'd give you a basket of mutual funds and a giant prospectus and say, have at it, smart guy or smart girl. And they would then just let you pick, and you'd pick all those mutual funds, and everything was going good when the markets were up. But then when the markets were down, 2008 hit, and I lived through it. I had a VUL, and the darn thing almost lapsed. If it wasn't for the company actually standing up and not letting any of the policies lapse, I would have lost that policy. But I will tell you something. I started that policy in 2004. I just got rid of it last year. How much money do you think I made? None. And it wasn't because I don't know how to pick investments. It was because the plan was a failed design from day one, a design that was built to only benefit the insurance company that created it. So let's come up with a new product that solves that problem, called an IUL, an indexed universal life. Same idea, let's build a product that allows our clients to capture the upside of the market. Now, I'll agree, that sounds pretty good, huh? All right, when the markets are going up, I can make more money than I could in a whole life because a whole life's fixed. Great, I like that. And then when the market's down, let's put a floor so the client can never lose money from the investments. So now, the variable universal life, where that thing went sideways, is they could go down, they could go negative. An IUL cannot. Because in IUL, you're not actually buying the investments, you're participating in an indexed portfolio that the insurance company does. Number one, you have no control over that indexed portfolio. You're participating, so you're not getting the full exposure to the portfolio. And not only that, right now, because the markets are going down, down, and down, there is no economic benefit for you to own an IUL. Because if the market's going down and you're not owning the investments, you're not buying low. You're doing nothing but treading water. But here's where they really screwed up. They said, because you're not actually selling investments, this product can be sold by non-security licensed advisors or agents. Okay, because you can't call them an advisor unless they're security licensed. So regular life insurance agents are going out selling IULs and acting like they know a thing or two about securities. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. but they're not licensed to sell securities, but they're selling it. They're selling this vehicle like it's an investment. That is creating all sorts of problems. Let me give you one. You'd have to understand math, and I know some of you do. So riddle me this. If you invest or put money into an IUL, right? Why?
Oh, it's tax-free. Oh, I captured the upside. Oh, it's going to be a great retirement vehicle. Oh, they illustrated. Look at these returns that they illustrated.
They're not real. They might show you 5.5%, 6%, 7% hypothetical returns. How much are you getting right now? 0. Maybe your floor's at like 0.7, but you're still losing money to the cost of insurance. So you've got this illustration that shows that you're gonna make 5, 6, 7%, and those are numbers that you actually think that you're gonna make. You look at those numbers and you're actually looking at them going,
Wow, that's going to be really cool when I have that much money.
but the sad reality is you won't have that much money. Hardly anyone buying IULs will perform the way that that illustration is, and it's simple mathematics. So right now, just think of it this way. Let's just hypothetically say that for the next 2 years, 2024 and 2025, you're going to experience negative returns in the markets. The indexes will be negative because we'll be in a recession. They were negative last year, 2023. They're going to be negative this year, 2024, and there might be negative 2025. So let's hypothetically say that. And you could agree to disagree or whatever you want, maybe not 25. But for 2 years, let's just use 23 and 24. You did not make any money in the index because you really couldn't. How could you make money in a participating product that participates in a market-based return when the markets and the indexes were down double digits? You can't. So you're sitting in a neutral zero zone, okay, the floor. Maybe you move the money to the guaranteed account. So maybe you're trending along at 3% or whatever it is in your account. Now what I want you to do is I want you to go back to that illustration that got you really excited. I want you to just move your finger over to from the hypothetical zone that you're not getting, and I want you to go back over to the guaranteed side. The guaranteed side, yeah, the one that the insurance company guarantees you. And I want you to follow your finger down the cash value numbers, and I want you to stop where it hits 0. 0 marks the lapse date. That's when your policy will lapse. So then you can make the assumption of, all right, I've got my non-guaranteed hypothetical and my guaranteed. My guaranteed certainly lapses. Everyone I've ever seen goes to 0 because they die, because they don't perform the way they're supposed to. So you can even then say, well, maybe it's somewhere in the middle, like the midpoint. Chances are your policy's still gonna lapse. Why? Because the cost of insurance inside of an index universal life does one thing and one thing only. It goes up because it's based on a 1-year term. And every year you get older, your term cost goes up. So does a universal life. So you got something that your costs are gonna go up. You've got a vehicle that your returns are hypothetical at best and are not gonna perform because if you've already lost for 2 years or made nothing, let's just pretend you've made nothing or the guaranteed rate, you cannot recover from that. So if they showed 7% every year or 5.5% every year, how can you make up for 2 0 years? The answer is time. How much? Do the math. Just do the math. It's probably a decade. It will take you a decade to make up for what you've missed out on these last 2 years. But for some reason, some of you just can't wrap your head around that. You're being sold a giant bushel of lies, and you can't understand that. That is the mindset problem, because you are seeking unrealistic returns. You're looking at something for what it could be, not for what it actually is. Think about that. Folks, we gotta change the way we think. We gotta get in a financial mindset that's right for the times, which means you need to give up those hopes of big returns today, and you need to really focus on preserving and protecting your wealth. And you need to focus on being liquid and in control of your money so that when this opportunity comes, you got the money to shift it over into the opportunities. Because if I could say one thing to all of you, I know I'd get 100% participation. If all of you could just go back in time in that DeLorean to 2008 or 2009 with a bushel full of money, your bank account, liquid, and you could buy anything, what would have happened from then until now? You would have made a bunch of money. Why? because you took advantage of an incredibly low market. I don't care if you bought real estate, I don't care if you bought cars, I don't care if you bought stocks. All of them would have appreciated and been worth significantly more today. So, of course, 100% of you would want to go back to 2008 and 9 and invest your money then because you know you would have made a bunch. Well, the same exact thing is about to happen. Why can't you understand that? Get yourself in the abundant mindset. Get yourself in the financial mindset like the wealthy, where you see the opportunity, you know it's coming, and you might have to give up a little today to take advantage of that opportunity tomorrow. Wouldn't that be worth it if today, by giving a little something up, by saving more money, by reallocating your portfolios, diversifying your portfolios, getting in a liquid cash position, you'd be ready for this opportunity when it strikes and everybody else would be losing and you would be making? When others are greedy, be fearful. That is now. When others are fearful, it's time to get greedy. That is coming soon. All I want to do, folks, is get you ready. I am incredibly passionate about this, if you can't tell. I'm not here selling you a product. I'm here warning you. I've been warning you over and over and over again that you need to get your finances in order and that you need to take back control of your money. And if you take back control of your money, you also need to learn how to be the bank. Folks, I hope this wakes you up a little bit, because if it doesn't, you're never gonna wake up. My name's Chris Naugle. This is What Now, What's Next. Hey, if you like this video, then you will love that one right there. It's all about the Great Reset, and that's what's about to happen.